Get Gutsy, episode number 174 with Thea Jorbina on Invest in Yourself. Welcome to Get Gutsy. I'm your host, Jenny Fennig, and I am so excited to be on this journey with you. A cutting-edge show blending business and spirituality, Get Gutsy serves up a potent blend of stories, lessons, and tips to help you make a massive impact in the world through your soul's work and your inspired life. No more going it alone, no more excuses. The world needs more brave women saying yes to leadership. Are you with me? Good. Let's get gutsy now. Hello, beautiful. It's time to get gutsy, isn't it? Welcome back to the show. We have such a good one for you today, and we are in the midst of Gutsy Coach Week. Are you having fun? We have a lot of episodes for you this week. We've already published several, and we've got a few more to go. And we're having a blast because coaching is such a fabulous road to be on. It's a wonderful career. It's a beautiful community that you join when you say yes to coaching or when you say yes to rising up as a coach and helping more people. And I am so excited to be offering up this week dedicated to coaching and the brave souls who say yes to serving the world in this way. As you may know, hopefully you know this. If this is your first episode you're ever listening to, you may not know it, but we are in enrollment and the application period for my coach certification program. I created my school a few years ago. It's called Get Gutsy Coach Training School. We are the place to be for spiritual coaches wanting to make a difference and a great living with this sacred work. Nobody does it the way that we do it. We have a glorious experience, really what I call a boutique, high vibe, high touch, high end experience where we attract the best of the best, true leaders who know how to make moves, who know they're here to impact the world in a very, very powerful way. And we are coming to the tail end of our enrollment for our January 2018 class. So I don't want you to be left out in the cold. Come over to coachtrainingschool.com, see what we have for you. We have it all, basically. Let me just be straight with you. And I'd love to have the opportunity to serve you. Go there, decide to choose in. You'll fill out an application, and then I will review it. I will ensure that our school is a right fit for you and you're a right fit for our school. And then if everything lines up, you're going to be in there with us. We have a glorious community. We will welcome you in with open arms, and we are waiting for you. CoachTrainingSchool.com. Today we have the amazing Thea Jorbina with us. Oh wow. Oh my gosh, this message is so strong, so beautiful. Here's what I got for you. What difference does investing in yourself make in your life? And whose voice should you follow when you're grappling with a big decision? These are two critical questions we answer today in this episode of Get Gutsy. Thea shares intimately about her deeply personal journey into motherhood. Raise your hand if you're a mom like me, and if you're not, you're still going to get so much from this episode. She talks about the long and bumpy road to achieving her educational goal, how what she learned in Get Gutsy Coach Training School, because Thea is a proud graduate, how what she learned supports her relationships with her family, and how she learned to follow her gut. I just love Thea. I love her story. She also is a direct seller, also known as network marketing, multi-level marketing. She talks about kind of how she walks both of those roads, why coaching became the right next step on her journey, and just everything that has opened up for her as a result. It's a very real, honest, raw conversation, and a huge takeaway. And the name of this episode that I hope that you really take into your heart is invest in yourself. When you do, you can't lose. Oh yes, enjoy this episode, and let's just keep on rocking here for Gutsy Coach Week. Thea, welcome to Get Gutsy. So pumped you're here.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me. This is such a pleasure.
Yeah, and you are on vacation right now with your family, right?
I am. Yes. So I am in Mystic, Connecticut, staying at Tabor Inn and Suites. I had to say that because I got permission to stay a little extra for this podcast. So they're awesome. There's like no place like this.
You're like, can I get a late checkout? They're giving you a late checkout is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Late checkout. It's the way to go.
Yeah.
I know. We always request late checkout. That's so funny, Mystic, because my husband was just in that area over this past weekend, and he was like, oh my God, Mystic. And I went there many years ago before I had kids. And this past weekend, we weren't able to go with him. He had work because we had just some stuff locally that we wanted to do and experience. But of course, you're in Mystic. So I love that. All right. So you're a mom. You have how many kids?
Three.
3 kids, ages.
Yes. So, okay.
I know. So it's hard to remember sometimes.
2. I know. I have
sometimes I'm like, okay, hold on.
Too.
Where are we? Yeah.
I know. Making doctor's appointments. It's like birth dates.
Okay, yeah. I'm like, hold on. I got it. I am the mother. I've got this shit.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have, my youngest is 2. He just turned 2. My middle child is 7 now. She just turned 7 November 1st. And then my oldest is 9. Oh, 8. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, 8. She'll be 9.
Okay.
See?
It's okay. It's okay.
Like 8.
Going on
20.
18. Yeah.
She's just amazing. She's amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed that as an oldest
well,
child,
yeah. You know, I too have 3 kids. My oldest, he's like super wise on certain elements, and then he's also 8, and I'm like, so he's like 4 because he's supposed to, I'm like, because he's 8, but it's hard because when they're so wise and smart around certain things, it's easy to be like, well, you just should automatically know that you need to not make a mess and you need to do this, and you're like, no, because your frontal lobe is still developing, and so
absolutely,
no, you're not going to know that yet. And so I just have to remember that you're still a child, and it's all good. I love that. Okay, so oh, well, you are one of our, amazing graduates of Get Gutsy Coach Training School, and it's so exciting bringing several of you on to talk about your journey and just who you are and why coaching and all that stuff. And what I like to do, I've started doing this on more of my podcasts, not only with my graduates of my coaching school, but just like my other guests that I have on. This is kind of like the next level of my podcast, because we've now been broadcasting for more than, we're coming up on, by the time this goes live, 2-year anniversary. Wow. And so it's like, you always have to kind of keep things fresh and like ask yourself, am I going as deep as I want to go? Am I following my curiosity as honestly as I can? That's okay. You're like, all right,
there's a little lady outside.
You're like, hold on. It's all good. All right. So real life, Thea had a helper person come to her room, and so it's all good. We're like, let's just pause it and come back in. So we're pausing. And you know what? My kids may like barge in any moment. So we'll have to pause it and come back in, because that's like life, right? That is life. Yeah. So anyway, so the way that you kind of keep your work fresh is to continue like stretching, following your curiosity. And so my curiosity now leads me to want to kick off these convos with going back in time and really looking at your childhood. Thea was once a little girl, and now you're raising little children to become, all they're designed to be. So let's go back to your childhood and dive into what was the most amazing piece of it. Where did you grow up? And, what do you remember as being like, that was so awesome.
Yeah. So I am from Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. I don't know if you've heard of Scranton, Pennsylvania. It's near
The Office.
Near there. Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Claim to fame.
Yes. So that's where I grew up. I was born in the Philippines. And I came here when I was 4 years old, I believe. So, I don't know much of that, but my childhood, it was awesome. I can't complain. But the thing is, here's the thing. I am a positive person. I love, I try to embrace the positivity, because otherwise it's just going to bring you down, the negativity. And don't get me wrong, there's some negatives in my life, but my childhood though, there are I was a sports person. I love playing sports, not necessarily watching sports, but
you like to play. What was your sport?
Oh my goodness. Field hockey. I played field
Field
hockey for quite a
hockey.
long time. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I enjoyed that.
And was it like
I
an all girls team or was it co-ed?
Yeah, you know what? I think they may have offered co-ed, but it was all girls.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, the unity
Yes.
about it, and just making the friendships. Yeah, there's just,
Mm-hmm.
and that's something that I take with me throughout my life, just making those connections,
Totally. Often
sharing
when
those
we have
relationships.
like that all girls is interesting. That's why I kind of dug and I said, well,
Yeah.
what was the breakdown there? Because you reminded me of when I was a young girl and I
Mm-hmm.
played softball and I was on an all girls. It was like an all girls
Yes.
softball league. It was kind of like, remember that
Yes.
movie, A League of Their Own, or
Yes, I
League of
love
Their
it.
Own, or A League of
A
Her.
League of Their Own.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it was just like that all girls softball, or I think it was
Yeah.
baseball, and
Yeah.
and so
Yes,
you
that's
saw that
baseball.
like that camaraderie when the men were out at war. And I had that growing up. And it's funny, when we're recording this, my dad is visiting from Georgia and he was my coach. And so it's interesting because I
Oh,
always like to
cool.
kind of trace, what got you to where you are. And so for me,
Yes.
just being around those girls and now in my business, like
Yeah.
bringing women together to support
Yes.
each other. I'm a coach. My dad was my coach. He was an amazing coach. And so for you, you had that field hockey, all girls, supportive,
Yes.
bringing each other up. And then, everything that you're doing in your world now, in your life now, we'll talk about, but that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very positive memory. Well, I know you're a positive person, as you said, but we all have challenge, right? We have things that happen that are like,
Yes.
oh gosh, that was really hard. I wish I could shift that. I don't know how I got through that, but like, let's go back to that childhood time again and look at, what was something that was really challenging that you experienced?
Yeah. Well, I'm getting real here.
Yeah,
I'm getting
that's
real
what
here
we
with you,
do
Jenny.
here. Mm-hmm.
So my parents, I had a really difficult time growing up because my parents had. I come from uh, a broken home,
Mm-hmm.
to tell you the truth.
Mm-hmm.
My father, my biological dad, passed away. I was 3 months old.
So you're still in the
Yeah,
Philippines when that
I was.
happened.
Yes, yes, yes. And I don't have much memories aside from my mother telling me about him.
Mm-hmm.
However, my mom remarried, um, which is how I got here to America. She remarried my stepfather, who I just call my dad. I mean, he's the one who raised me.
Right.
He's
And
awesome.
he was an American,
Yes,
and that's
yes.
why
So
it
he's
got you over here. Okay.
right, right. So they remarried, or she remarried. They married in the Philippines, and then they moved here to Pennsylvania. All of us moved here to Pennsylvania. Like I said, I was 4.
Mm-hmm.
It's just my sister and I. So
Mm-hmm.
my sister is 4 years older.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, and here's the thing, it just didn't work, and
Mm-hmm.
as a child, I was that child who, like, I think like most children, they want their parents to remain together, to stay
Mm-hmm.
together. So
Mm-hmm.
I struggled. My dad, he was very much he relied on me a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and and this is difficult to say because it's kind of like analyzing my childhood from the past, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean that's the truth. He actually, he actually didn't have many friends, and we were buddies. So
Mm-hmm.
he talked to me a lot about it. So it sort of made me grow up pretty
Yes.
quickly,
Yes.
and like I said, I was like in the middle of all of it.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
arguments, there's so much, so
Mm-hmm.
much,
Mm-hmm.
but that has shaped me. That has shaped my life, my relationship with my children.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want my marriage to, you know, to be the same way. I mean, there was
Right.
a lot of fears getting into marriage, but
Yes.
I wanted to be that mom who, was loving and have that relationship with my husband, and
Mm-hmm.
that was just a positive
Mm-hmm.
energy instead of a negative, because I grew up with the negativity.
Mm-hmm.
So finding that positivity from that, it is difficult, but it's there. It's
Mm-hmm.
there, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
Beautifully said. And it inspired you to create what you wanted, and maybe what you didn't experience
right,
like you wanted to as a kid.
yeah,
Because we could talk for days of my own stuff too. But I as well have been very intentional about the family that I've created. I too, I had a lot of like concerns going into marriage, because I'm like,
yes,
I want to do this, but what if I'm horrible at it? Because I didn't have a great example.
Right.
And, maybe it's genetic or something. And so, I did a lot of work preparing for marriage, preparing for, just a committed relationship that has unconditional love at its core.
Yes.
And it's a journey. And that's why I like to kind of plug in here to be like, what'd you see? What'd you experience? Because it shapes us and who we are as like, wives, if we go that route, moms, if we go that route.
Right.
And then certainly coaches, and how we show up and serve the people that we're meant to serve. So thank you so much for sharing that piece of your history and your past. So how did you discover what you're meant to do professionally through a career? It's like we learn more about your background. You got into field hockey, you did that whole thing. And then how did you kind of launch yourself into the world and figure out like, oh, I'm meant to do stuff, and kind of walk us through that, because you eventually found coaching and that's how you and I connected. But how did you get to this spot?
Well, here right now, it's, you know what, to be honest, Jenny, I'm still finding my way, and I'm currently in direct sales. And I just,
and how did you, for direct sales, it's like, but how did you get there? Like, did you you went to go to school for something? Like, kind of path us through that. Like,
oh my goodness. It's like the longest story, but short story. I actually received a scholarship to go to Bloomsburg University. And I started in the fall of 2005. I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. It's one thing led to the other. There's a lot that happened during that time in college that it's so, I just learned so much about myself. I had this idea that I was going to go off to college and find someone, get married, have an amazing career. And I have those things now, but I just took a different path. And it's incredible though how hard I was on myself, because I wasn't taking the path that I initially wanted, and that I just, there's just so much that just happened. And I actually, here's the thing, I got pregnant when I was a sophomore.
Got it.
It was either sophomore or junior in college, and I was, I have to say, how I judged other people, and I hate to say this, but I did. I judged other people for making mistakes so young, and here I was, seeing myself as making that mistake, but it was something that happened in my life that I couldn't control, that happened, and the way I handled it, I have to give myself credit. I look where I am now. I see myself succeeding from something so difficult at that time. Reliving this, just rethinking about it. I mean, it's just.
And this was crazy. Before you had met your husband?
This was my husband and I were dating. I think it was 8 months. 8 months that we were dating. Yeah.
Okay.
And it was this huge surprise for everybody. So,
and what happened with that?
I really, I didn't think that I could do it initially. I thought my father was going to disown me, my mother. It was,
Because you weren't married, and so there was this whole like, that.
Yeah, we weren't married, exactly. And my mother was, she's very religious. So I got a lot of, it was just pressure. And the thing is, I followed. I was telling you about my childhood and how I had my big sister to always, I looked up to her, and she's shorter than me now, but but I looked up to her, and she, to me, anything she said, I usually followed or listened or just like feel.
So you went to her for advice?
Yes, I followed in her footsteps, and then and the thing is, so I got pregnant, and she, I asked her. It was instant messenger
AOL
at the time.
Yep.
And I finally got the courage, at least, to message her and say, this is what's going on. And her response was, what are you going to do? And to that, I don't know if it was the hormones. I was just so sensitive to that. And I was like, are you, I'm like, are you assuming that I'm going to, there's another option? Because at the time I was pro-life. And, I didn't see another option. This was my baby, and so from then I decided I'm going to make my own path. And, there's no more following my sister's footsteps. This is my path. This is my journey. So it was then that it was clear to me that even if I wasn't ready, even if I didn't feel ready to become a mother, this is the path that I choose. So it's incredible. Just motherhood, as you know, your life changes completely.
And that was because take us back, because your oldest is 8, and so this was 2005. Yes. So what?
Well, I began my college career in 2005.
Okay, so this is your oldest child. This is your oldest child. This is your oldest child that you're talking about. Okay, so I'm like, wait, the dates, I'm tracking it. Okay, and so you did it, and you're married to this guy, and this is your husband. So you trusted that. You said, I'm going to step up. It's time for me to become a mom.
Yes. Because the thing is, Jenny, and I mentioned this earlier, I had no idea what I was doing in college. I changed my my majors so many times, and I had no idea. I was lucky enough to be there,
Right. Well, you had the scholarship, then you meet the man who's going to become your husband, you become a mother. And then when you graduated, and did you graduate? Like, did you finish?
Oh, okay.
I don't want to assume. I assume nothing.
Oh, right.
Yes. It's like, I don't know. This is your path, not mine.
Yes. So I actually, I was ashamed of myself, and I didn't want to be that person to go to school with, with this big old belly and, trying to concentrate and keep up with my hormones. So I ended up just quitting. I had a 1.92 GPA.
Yikes.
It was, yes.
You're like,
right?
Time.
It's not my time. And and that was another really difficult situation for me, because I had to get clear on that. I had to call myself out and say, listen, Thea, you got to get your shit together. It's not going to happen right now. It may happen later. So what happened was, I had my daughter, Bella, 2009. I started going back to school online. I'm just trying to figure out what it was that I wanted to do. And then from there, actually, I had my daughter, Mia, 2011 or 2010. And I was still, I was still trying. I was attempting to work, hack away at this degree. And at the time, I decided I wanted to go back to go for psychology. Right. So my husband, who we weren't married at the time, we had a long engagement, let's say. We found out that because he worked at the university, I could go there tuition free, which is amazing to save all that money. And all I had to pay were the fees. So yeah, so it turns out life happened again. I got pregnant with my third. And he's my angel in heaven. His name's JJ. And are you feeling this? Because like, I just, there's not a day that goes by that I don't miss him. I don't remember him. And
how did he die again? Was he in utero? You had this baby? Okay.
I was about 4 to 5 months pregnant. And in the beginning, I was, my mother found out that she had this polycystic kidney disease. And her doctor recommended that her children get tested or get screened for this. So it turns out my sister and I both did. She does not have it. I do. But actually, when I was pregnant, I went for an ultrasound. And part of the screening was basically I just rolled over after they checked to see how the baby was. And they checked my kidneys. And that's when they noticed the cyst. So, so from the beginning, I was under special care.
For that
and
pregnancy.
And they noticed, or they wanted me to come in every week. And, the last time, like I said, I think I was 4 or 5 months, and they didn't find a heartbeat. And just sitting there, luckily my husband was with me, and I had someone, to hold me, because it's a travesty to go through something like that. And, so from that experience, I did have to go in to the hospital and go through the steps, give birth. And it was a really difficult time for me. But from his death, I promised him that I was going to go back to school, not only him, for myself as well, go back to school, finish what I started. So I started going to school. I think I was just doing one class at a time. And then, I realized, why am I not wasting time, but why don't I just, go back to school full time? I'll just do this. And luckily my dad was able to help out. Mia was in preschool at the time, and my Bella was in grade school. So it worked out where I could go to school full time. And ironically enough, I was pregnant my final semester with my fourth, my baby boy.
And you got that boy.
Yes, little Ray Ray. Who's named after my father-in-law. So yeah,
wow.
I did it. I graduated.
You did
10
it.
years later.
10 years later, you graduated. You had all those babies. Like you were meant to be a mother. Yes. I think, and we can celebrate that. We're meant to, not everybody is meant to, not everybody chooses that path.
Yes.
For some, it doesn't choose them. And there's that. It's just kind of rectifying it all. But you were picked as a mom earlier than I was. That could have happened to me. What happened to you absolutely could have happened to me. And it just didn't. It just didn't. It was like my time waited. And,
right.
I think it's so beautiful that you committed and you're like, I'm going to finish what I started. And so you got into direct sales. What is it about direct sales? So I have a lot of my coaching students who also are in direct sales, and they're like, oh, and they do that. And then they're like, wait, this coaching thing, I think it'll really complement the work that I'm doing in direct sales really well, because it's kind of a different, it's a different skill set, but they work well, very, very well together in terms of how you can have both of these businesses, and maybe they are kind of separate businesses. They integrate really beautifully together. So talk about kind of that for you. It's like you found direct sales that was working for you. It's because you can work from home, you can work around your family schedules. I'm guessing that's a
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So after I graduated, I sort of freaked out, and I was like, what am I going to do? You know, because typically with psychology, you go on to grad school.
Yeah.
And I knew that I accomplished this.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm going to chill for a bit.
One thing at a time, right? So had my baby. Well, actually decided to get into direct sales. I had my launch party 4 days before my son was born.
Nice.
And I actually met Julia Slike, who she is my sponsor for 31 Gifts. And I remember at the launch party, I was crying because I had a part-time job. See, the thing is, I always had something. I had a part-time job. Being stay-at-home mom, I always had something else just to give myself the balance of feeling, being able to contribute financially. So I cried when at this launch party because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is more than I make in like a month. Like that's, and that was just where I was at that point in my life.
Yeah.
So, it was a blessing to meet Julia. And she actually introduced me to life coaching eventually. And the thing is, when I entered your program, Get Gutsy, Coach Training School, I had no idea. I didn't really research much about it.
You're like, Julia says it's good. I know,
right?
Come on in.
That's the thing. I do. I rely on my people, like the people in my life. I don't have like a crazy amount of people who, I used to in college when I was like lost. I had, so many friends on Facebook.
Right.
But, I learned that, I have this circle of people who love me and who have my back. And, and Julia is one of them. And she, I relied on her. I asked her these questions, and I trusted that she was going to be open and honest, which she was, she is. So that led me to getting into life coaching. And the thing is, after I graduated, I thought, oh man, I'm gonna become an awesome coach. I'm gonna, make mucho money, and and I forgot, it takes time. It doesn't.
Yes.
Rome wasn't built in a day, right? So I decided, because I was lost. I'm still, I'm in this phase where I'm still learning. But I decided that I'm going to utilize what I have, like what is in my life right now. Having a 2-year-old boy, being a stay-at-home mom is not as easy, So
I feel you. But with the thing with coaching is you can use it in so many areas of your life. You can use it with your family. You can use it with your community.
Absolutely.
You can use it with really anyone. It's the skills to be a leader.
Yes.
That's what I love about it. It allows me to be the best wife, the best mom, best daughter, the best just Jenny, best Jenny, and whatever environment that I'm in, I can plug that, I can plug my skills in, and I can use it to the betterment of of whatever we're experiencing to
Yes.
really get us into that, get us collectively into that next level. So I love that. And I love how honest you are that like, first and foremost, you are a mom, like, and you've been a stay-at-home mom and you've had to like figure out how to integrate all these other things in it. And this will be a series of cycles and seasons for you. Those people who go through, you know, who go through any training, certainly Get Gutsy Coach Training School, we're not saying, okay, then in the next month, you've got to be watching it. Like you need to be doing all these things. It's like, I always tell my students, this stuff doesn't expire. And because you can come back, you can access the materials at any time.
Absolutely.
In our community for as long as we have the community. It's there for you. It's simply when you feel called to step forward into our program, there's a reason why you're feeling that call. And then if and when you get to that point where you're like, I'm really ready to turn up the heat now because all my kids are in school or they're out of the house now, or you know what, we got to just amp up our financial cushion. And so I'm going to turn up the heat. You can, like, you're ready. You have all the things. You don't have to then go wait and then do the training. You've got that foundation and you get to decide. That is power. That is, you know, you stepping into your place as this is where I am now. And I didn't have these ideas like even a few months back, but it's just hit me and I'm like, I'm the matriarch. And it's like a very powerful energy that I've
go, girl.
Playing with. So it's like, I'm giving that to you too, Thea. I'm like, you are the matriarch. Yes, you've got this great husband and he does his thing as dad and husband and all that kind of stuff. But matriarchal energy is fucking powerful. And it's so how, you know, a lot of tribes, a lot of traditions were like, my son's actually studying Native Americans as part of third grade. And we were listening to something the other day and I was like, whoa, because they were like, this was a matriarchal society. People were chosen by the most powerful, wisest, oldest woman in the tribe. And I was like, I like that, you know?
Right?
And I feel like as a society, like we're getting there. You see a lot of these patriarchal systems crumbling where these certain things went on that shouldn't have been going on, but were. And now it's like, it's all evolving. So as women, we have this opportunity to decide how we want to show up in our various roles. And I just think that coaching allows us to plug in so beautifully. So what would you say, Thea, to someone who maybe is a stay-at-home mom like you, maybe, you know, has been like, what is my thing? And I'm kind of doing this, but like, I want to be a stronger leader. I want to have, you know, these skills that I could dial up when, you know, now or later. What would you say to somebody who's considering joining Get Gutsy Coach Training School?
I would, you know what, this is what I did. I prayed about it. I talked to other people. Luckily I had Julia as a resource. I talked to my husband, people in my life, what they thought. And then I channeled myself in. I'm like, okay, Thea, what do you want to do? You know, is this something? And in my gut, you know, that's what told me that I wanted to do this. And it was, you know, it was scary for me because it was an investment. But the thing is, I was investing in myself. And that's worth something, right?
Oh, damn straight it is. I was investing in myself. I want everyone to take that in. And honestly, that's why it scares us, because you're like, for some of us, it's, you know, the most we've ever invested, or, you know, I went to school on a full ride scholarship. And so I was having this conversation with my dad because he's been up visiting. I was like, I had to give myself permission to spend money on my education because I didn't have to do that. It was paid for. Paid for. So when I got to that point, like once I realized that the career path I was on wasn't going to take me to the life that I wanted, I was like, no one's going to pay for me to kind of like preach this. That's got to be me. That's got to be me figuring out how this is going to happen. This has got to be me saying yes and trusting that I was going to follow through, and that whatever was meant to be received from this experience will be received. It will be received. And I don't have to control that. I don't have to know what it's going to be now at the end of the journey. And Coach Training School, it's a 4-month journey. And then you still get the support of the community and the resources and everything, like in perpetuity, you know? But that is such a great lesson and message for our listeners. It's like, giving yourself permission to invest in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So Thea, how can our listeners find you? I know that you've got your direct sales business. You're like really kind of, building or figuring out exactly how you're going to be positioning yourself as a coach, but where do you want to take them?
So I have a website. It's called Gifts from Thea. It's GIFTSFROMTHEA.com.
Mm-hmm.
And what you can do is go on the website. At the very bottom, there's a section. It's Contact Me.
Mm-hmm.
And then you fill out the information. In the subject, put Team Inspire, and in the message box, scholarship. That's going to be the code word, scholarship, because I have an exclusive offer for those who are interested in investing in themselves and joining my team. And yeah, and that's
and your team, this is like direct sales, like
direct
kind of
sales.
Those who want to get into the direct sales realm, and it's connected to the direct sales company that you're with.
Right.
Okay. So it's 31, right?
31 gifts.
31 gifts. I have some of your bags. They're very, very cute. So for those who are listening, who are like, hey, you want to be part of Thea, you like her energy, you like kind of what she's all about and her story, and you're into the direct sales model, then that might be a step that our listeners take with you, Thea. So giftsfromthea.com. I love that. So thank you for laying that out for our people. So this is our finale question. I'm very curious to know your response, Thea. What is the gutsiest move you've ever made, and how does it inspire your life and work today?
You know what, Jenny? I've listened to this in previous podcasts of yours, and I'm like, ooh, what would I say?
It's your turn now. You're like, it's my
turn. Yeah, and and I touched on this earlier. Definitely, I would say my gutsiest move was to choose my own path, becoming a mom. I chose to separate from what the naysayers said. I just chose I wanted to do something for myself. And that was the gutsiest thing, because I could have said, no, I don't want to deal with this. You know what I mean? And I'm not to say that you have options. There are options, but I owned up to this at that time in my life. So that was my gutsiest move. And having my daughter Isabella led me to this amazing life of being a mother, and having my family. It's a joy, just thinking about how different it would have all been, and they inspire my family. Definitely, they inspire me every day, because so my husband, he surprised me with concert tickets to go see Lindsey Sterling with my girls, and in Connecticut. And I said to him, it was just last week that he gave me the tickets, and he's like, "Are you so excited?" He would ask me, "Are you so excited?" I'm like, "Yes, but I have to get through this week. This is busy season for direct sales for me." So I'm like, I just have to get through this. And finally, the day came. I'm like, I'm ready. I am ready for this. So, it's interesting how much, I have changed too, how my work life, my family life, how I have been able to just balance, keep that balance, and be able to focus and on the moments, being able to be happy with my family, look forward to this, but also be able to accomplish my work week
Totally. Be
get it done.
Be that
right?
CEO, like mom has got
Yes.
some work. I'm going to get this handled. And here's why. And you have that bigger reason why. It's like, you know, the financial rewards are going to get you, you know, X, Y, and Z. You can, you know, give things to them. You can give to causes that you're committed to. You can just,
Absolutely.
you can create this life. And you realize as women, we have the power to do this. And that's what I love about, you know, coaching, just finding the thing that you're here to do, being the best that you can be at that, saying yes to leadership, saying yes to, you know, everything, just saying yes to everything that you want. So Thea, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing your journey. I love getting to know my students and graduates in an even deeper way. And say hi, Melissa. Melissa I'm going to put you on pause for a second, honey. And I'm going to be right back to come get you. Y'all, we got some things. We got action here because I'm Jenny and I love the path of coaching. And I love being able to celebrate my students and really showing that there's so many different types of women who are drawn to this path, drawn to Get Gutsy Coach Training School. So for those of you tuning in, make sure you go to coachtrainingschool.com and see what's up. Go check out Thea, stay in touch with her, and know that everything you desire is possible. You just must make that decision and invest in yourself. This is Jenny Fennig sending you so much love, light, and faith as you get gutsy. I will see you next time.
Hey, this is John Lee Dumas of EO Fire, and you're listening to Get Gutsy with Jenny Fennig. Gutsy leaders unite and ignite.